Hello and welcome to People, Opinion and Perspectives, a new insight series from us at Citygate G. Rogerson that we're calling POP for short. Today we begin by focusing on the retail investment market. It's a sector that has been drastically changed following a pandemic-induced boom which saw commission-free trading and retail investment platforms dramatically increase their customer bases. From a company's perspective, of course, this represents an opportunity as it broadens the universe of potential investors for new placements and enhances liquidity. But dealing with retail investors poses risks as well as opportunities. So what are they and what are the solutions? Let's ask the experts. I'm here at PrimaryBid with the co-founder, James Deal, and also Sandra Novakov, who's my colleague and head of investor relations at CDR. James, if I could begin with you, if you just want to step into your spot here. Firstly, it would be great if you could give us a bit of background as to what you do here at PrimaryBid and also why retail investors pose such an opportunity.
PrimaryBid is a web and app-based platform. We are technology-led and we are here to give fair access for the smallest shareholder to put the public back into public markets. We're partnered with London Stock Exchange in the UK and with Euronext for 9 countries in Europe. And indeed, we work with all companies, banks and advisors to give that equal access for the smallest shareholder and using our technology platform to do so.
How much has the landscape changed in recent years when it comes to retail investors and their prominence?
Well, forgive me for setting the scene and going back this far, but if you look at the 1950s, the entire stock market was individuals. By 1985, that was circa 30%, and those of us that were around then will remember the Tell Sid agenda of privatising of utility companies in the 80s. Today, though, the UK is less than 15% owned by individuals trading on the direct account, but that's rising quite fast for good reason. And what we're seeing is a big governance agenda of giving all shareholders fair inclusion, and that's best practice, but also to produce the right level of daily liquidity and aftermarket support at the transaction. And through the calendar year, there's very broad awareness now that retail inclusion is a big part of solving that issue.
Sandra, you're our expert in investor relations at CDR. Have you seen this more active retail shareholder market change the way that businesses are engaging with their shareholders?
Yes, we can see changes from IR strategies, both in terms of our advisory experience, but also from our research. At CDR, we conduct global annual surveys into investor relations trends. These findings show that 43% of companies have seen an increase in retail investors over the past 3 years. And this is not a number that you can ignore. So what's actually changing in terms of communication strategies? We have seen a lot of effort go into achieving simplicity of message. And this is in terms of investment case, in terms of information materials, just removing all the technical language and the sort of financial and sector jargon, and making sure that the story is accessible to the general public. And this helps not only with retail investor engagement, but also in terms of making the company more appealing to generalist institutional investors and optimizing the share price overall.
James, in your opinion, how important is it for firms to tell their story better when it comes to targeting retail shareholders?
It's a really important point. Translating the financial industry's jargon into plain English is not easy, but very, very relevant, and one of the core principles of where we come in as PrimaryBid. We've worked with over 300 companies here in the UK, helping them raise capital and increasingly connecting them to their investor base through the year. We've been on every FTSE 100 placing for the last 3 years in that regard, and we take great pride in helping members of the board, all the way down to the smallest shareholder, understand the true message of what needs to be delivered in language that they understand.
So let's just crystal ball gaze for a moment. What's coming next? What does the future hold in your view for the UK capital markets, and what kind of part will retail play in that?
Well, holding on to the Tell Sid moment of the 1980s, what's increasingly being talked about and needed here in the UK to generate a broader equity culture is Tweet Sid. We believe there's going to be some very exciting transactions that can act as a lightning rod and draw attention to the fact that listed equities represent the best asset class, bar none, for investors today. But as PrimaryBid, we're seeing a big opportunity to move from equities into bonds. We have a license to print retail bonds and have done several already. And around that, the level of broader ownership and understanding is all tying in with the support from government and the regulator on how to educate the investor in a world where regulation is changing to make it much, much easier to reach the broadest base of investors possible.
James Deal from PrimaryBid, thank you very much indeed. Sandra from CDR, thanks very much too. Lots happening over the coming months. The message here at PrimaryBid seems to be to tell your story better. Never has it been more important. Do get in touch with us if you'd like to talk to the team further.